Good day, boaters. Keith McGowan here. I am the Outboard Dad, here to help you have a better boating experience. Now we're going to get into it, four-stroke. Now this motor was locked up. If you remember in my previous videos, we're doing a comparison, two-stroke to four-stroke, what's worth rebuilding. The first two-stroke we opened up was not worth rebuilding, trashed it. Let me know your thoughts on that. Should I have kept going? But now we have this four-stroke. It was locked up when I got it, and it had milky oil. So let me know what your comments are. I know some people say that the head is the problem where it corrodes, or it's the block that's the problem. I also had a guy comment that in North Carolina they sell used blocks that are in good condition and used heads. Is that worth all the effort to rebuild this or not? Let me know what you think. Don't forget my used outboard motor buying guides for sale on Amazon right now for $20. Please send me proof of purchase to keith@outboarddad.com. If you want a free phone session, half-an-hour phone session, $250 value to help you with a motor you're working on or a boat that you're working on. Or if you're looking for me to do an evaluation, you've seen some guys come, I videotape some of them where they come and I do a full evaluation of a new boat that they just bought. A couple of them were free boats, weren't they? So it's pretty cool. And guys are out on the water, which is, that's my goal here, is to make sure you can get out on the water safely and have a better boating experience. So we took the side cowlings off. I'm going to go ahead and put a bar on the flywheel just to get it moving a little bit because this has sat. I did spray oil in the cylinders. The cover, the valve cover, camshafts and all had a little bit of rust on them, so I sprayed them all up trying to get this going. I did put oil in it, so I'm hoping to start cranking it over and get it moving, and we'll do the basics. We'll check spark, we'll check compression, we'll see where it's at, but ultimately this is going to have to be torn down because it has milky oil. So let's get into it. Okay, so first hurdle I had is there is an infamous white wire that needs to be powered on all of these Suzukis. Something that I heard about when someone was trying to get a motor running and had that issue, and did some research and found out, so there's a white wire right here that I have clipped and I just went right to my battery, so I know I have 12 volts all the time. And that usually goes up to the key switch or something like that up at the dashboard. I'm not sure how Suzuki, I'd have to look at the wiring diagram again. So we got that squared away. And then of course we do have a neutral safety switch, right? Because I don't have the controls hooked up. So I just assumed it was these brown wires, but I didn't just jump it out first. I took my meter, measured, turned the key. I got 12 volts on one side. Turned the key, did not get 12 volts on the other side. So I assumed that was it. And sure enough, it was. So I didn't get a bar on it. I figured let's see what happens. So let's turn it over and see what it does. I hear fuel pump. Remember, I don't have spark plugs in. I didn't want to, have any compression tests done yet. Just hoping this will turn over. All right, so we're moving. I think I can kind of crank it a little bit like this, maybe get some oil pumped up through the engine. Doesn't sound very good, but I'm not sure if that's the starter motor or something else. Of course, we don't have plugs in it either. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my spark plugs in, and let's see if we get spark on each cylinder. And why not? We'll put our compression tester in. So I'm just going to crank it real quick before I put my compressor test in and see if we got sparkage. And we do on those, and we have sparkage. So interestingly enough, with this style, I'm kind of surprised it has spark, because with this is like an automotive boot, this really has to be smooshed down and tightened against the block with these bolts in order for it to make a really good connection. But it was enough, I guess, it arced inside there. So let's get our compression tester in. And we'll start at the top. We're still going to have to tear down this motor regardless. So, but let's just see what we get. Not getting anything there, so that tells me we probably have some valves stuck. So that gets 0. compression there, like 190. So obviously we're tearing this down. Just curious what we're going to come up with here. Now he did say that the motor ran, it just had milky oil. So I think it sat for a while after they removed it, and that moisture just kind of stuck things up. I think valves are sticking. So valves are probably sticking on this. So what's the next step here? We did the basics, and now we're going to have to tear this down, right? It's the only way we're going to really know what's going on inside the engine. Now I can start by taking the valve cover off, and we can do that, and then I can go ahead and see if our, I can't tell really if the valve is sticking or not. Maybe if I get my camera in there. I did spray up the cams and the tappets and everything, but doesn't mean it's lubricated enough to get it moving. So it could be just some rust holding it up, but again, we're not going to know until we do a complete teardown. So let me know your thoughts on this. We're going to just dive in. We also have a cracked cone on the lower unit. It's not leaking oil. It's not in that section. It's on the exhaust outer part, which is very common on these Suzukis. Do you think we can use our solder weld that we did for that little thermostat cover that works so well? That's what we're going to try as well, just as another experiment to see how well it goes. Now again, you have to pick up these motors cheap enough. If you're going to buy a blown motor, you have to pick them up cheap enough because sometimes they become parts motors and you spend a lot of time doing your teardowns. You got to make sure you're covered for that. So let me know your thoughts on this, 2-stroke versus 4-stroke. Now it's time to go all in on 4-stroke. We did some basic tests. We know it cranks over, but we have some low compression. Now we have to figure out what's going on inside. So please like, subscribe, send me any comments that you have, and let me know your thoughts on this debate. Have a great day. One last test. I figured, let me spray a bunch of fogging oil in there, put the spark plugs in. Let's see what happens. I don't have any fuel hooked up to it or anything. Let's just see if it spits or fires or does something. Maybe on that one cylinder with compression. Well, it did something all right. Let's check it out. I don't know, maybe that was enough to jar something loose in there and maybe the valve train started working. Let's do a compression check again. We got nothing to lose. Check those cylinders that had 0, the top one. May have misfired. Of course, you got to take the spark plugs out first. It's hard to do the compression check with the spark plugs in. Silly Willy. You know, these fuel-injected motors really need to have whatever it is, 60, 90 psi to fire. Of course, putting fogging oil in there should fire, but it's not like a two-stroke. It's not going to fire the same way, obviously. The other thing that I did when, you know, since I have compression now, is that fogging oil I sprayed it now kind of gets pushed around the rest of the cylinder. I'm hoping we got a little oil pressure from the oil pump, pumping some oil through it. Maybe lubricating some stuff that got milky oil and moisture that probably rusted. Who knows, we might pull this apart and find the crankshaft or something so badly rusted it's not worth doing anything with. Now let's check that compression. Let's see what we got. It's like 120 now. Let's check the bottom. The bottom only had 30. No change. Teardown time. Just what I expected. Just as I suspected.